aspects of the school during this information session. We look forward to answering your questions as well. But I want to start by just kind of giving you an overview of some of the main key themes about the school. The first is that you are probably joining us because you have an interest and passion already for international affairs. What we want to provide you with is a great opportunity to take that interest and passion and build on it, give you the knowledge and skills that you need to have a successful career where you're making the difference in the world of international relations and diplomacy. And we're going to do this in a couple of different ways. One way is by building on our wonderful location. And I have two things in mind when I talk about our location. The first is that the School of Diplomacy is a separate school, college within Seton Hall University. We have about 375 undergraduate students, about 110 graduate students. So we're very small and close-knit community, and a nice family feel. But within a larger university, Seton Hall has 10,000 students, and we have everything that you would expect from a major university. 130 different student organizations, 3 beautiful campuses, Big East Athletics. There's many wonderful things about Seton Hall as a whole, and you can enjoy all that, but be part of a very small, close learning community within that larger university. The second thing I want to highlight about our location is that we are located just 14 miles from New York City. And why is that important? Well, New York City is where the United Nations is headquartered, and because of that, there are many different, it's like really the center of international diplomacy. All of the different countries of the world have missions there at the UN. Many of the civil society and nonprofit organizations that are active on the international stage will have a presence here in New York as well because of what's happening at the UN. And all of that is just a 30-minute train ride away. At the same time, we also have a campus in Washington, D.C. to support our internship program that you'll learn about from Dr. Ruby in a few more minutes. But that means that you can study in Washington, D.C. just as if you were on the main campus. So you can have the best of both worlds. You can get New York and you can have Washington, D.C. if you choose to study at the School of Diplomacy. On top of that, we'll talk to you about a number of opportunities where you can study abroad. Those are currently on hold right now for safety reasons, as you can imagine, but we have a rich tradition of study abroad at the School of Diplomacy in a number of different ways we can help make that happen for you, whether it's short-term trips or semester-long experiences, and Dean Sangiamino will walk you through some of the great locations that we have for study abroad in a few more minutes. Another wonderful thing about the School of Diplomacy is that we have several different academic programs, 3. We have a 4-year program that gets you a bachelor's degree in diplomacy and international relations. We have a 5-year program that gets you a bachelor's degree in diplomacy and a master's degree also in diplomacy and international relations. That would usually take 6 years separately. You can earn both with us in 5 years. And finally, we have a 3+3 program with the Seton Hall Law School. So in 6 years, you can earn your undergraduate degree in diplomacy and your law degree. Again, that would usually take 7 years to do them separately. So these programs all have their strengths. They're different. They're all built on the same foundation that Dean Sangiamino will talk about in a few minutes. The key thing is they are different opportunities for you to customize your studies here at the School of Diplomacy so you can have the right set of skills, experiences, knowledge, and coursework that'll launch you on your career as you move forward. Now, guiding you through that experience are going to be some really outstanding faculty members and some wonderful student colleagues. And so I want to spend a few minutes talking about our faculty and students because they really are the heart of the school. In terms of our faculty, there's kind of 2 themes about the faculty that I'd like to highlight. The first is that our faculty are outstanding teachers. For about the last half a dozen years or so, Seton Hall has had a Teacher of the Year program. And our faculty have won Teacher of the Year university-wide honors 4 times in that short period of time. So that shows you how good our faculty are. They all are at the School of Diplomacy because they love teaching students that are interested and passionate about international affairs, and they do that in small classes. When Dean Sangiamino walks you through the curriculum in a few minutes, all of the coursework that she's talking about across all 3 of our majors are classes of 30 or smaller throughout your entire studies, not just your diplomacy coursework. I mean, all of your coursework at Seton Hall. And so therefore you have really exciting and dynamic teachers. We have professors who will teach you in the classroom. We have 16 full-time faculty members. They all have terminal degrees, PhDs in the area that they teach, whether that be international law or international economics or international politics or negotiation, whatever the subject matter they teach, they're trained in that area. And they're joined every semester by a handful of practitioners who are professors of practice, who are people with years of experience working in international affairs, either as ambassadors or at the UN, or perhaps with think tanks and a variety of other careers. And then they teach for us, so that way our students can really get that hands-on experience. So you're getting a great blend of theory and practice from our teachers. So small classes, dedicated teachers, a great opportunity for interactive learning. On top of that, our faculty are outstanding researchers. We have them anchored into 4 research centers. You can see the themes there in the center of the slide. But I want to highlight just a couple of things about our faculty as researchers. The first is that they are outstanding and well regarded in their academic field of specialty. I mentioned we have 16 full-time faculty members. Right now, 4 of them are in the process of completing books with university presses, 2 with Cambridge University, 1 with Oxford University, and 1 with Columbia University. So these are absolutely outstanding, top-notch, top-tier university presses, and 1/4 of our faculty are publishing books with those presses at the same time. That's truly a remarkable confluence of research productivity right there. Another thing I'd like to highlight about the research that our faculty do is it's very policy relevant. One of our faculty experts studies global health. And as you can imagine, that's Yang-Zhong Huang. He's been in the news hundreds of times since March talking about the pandemic, first in China, because that's his regional specialty, but then across the world. So a very hands-on policy-oriented research. Another one of our professors, Zheng Wang, is our negotiation specialist, and he's been convening dialogues between US and Chinese officials and military officers to talk about key issues like, say, the dispute in the South China Sea or the response to COVID. So again, a very hands-on type of research. One last example, our department chair, Dr. Martin Edwards, last year published a book that was on the International Monetary Fund and the World Trade Organization. His book was so well regarded that after it was published, he was asked to present his research to the IMF staff in Washington, D.C., and then to the World Trade Organization staff in Geneva. So both of the organizations he studied wanted to hear about his research on their organizations. The last thing I want to highlight about our faculty is that they do this research with our students. That book I just mentioned by Dr. Edwards on the IMF and World Trade Organization, he completed that with the assistance of 16 Seton Hall students, diplomacy students, as he was writing that book. And there's many other opportunities to get engaged. A few of the students that you'll meet at the end of our talk are involved in student research as undergraduates through an initiative called the Diplo Lab, which is where our undergraduate students are assisting one of our faculty members, Joey Huddleston, who is doing research on doing household public opinion surveys in the midst of the civil war in Yemen. And our students are helping to conduct those surveys and analyze the results. So a lot of ways for you to interact with our faculty members, both in the classroom and through their research. So our truly outstanding faculty. Now, your faculty are going to be interacting with you and your fellow students, and the other students that you have with you in the classroom are going to be truly remarkable. So Robert, if you could shift to the next slide, I want to highlight some successes of our students. Our students come in incredibly academically strong. They're among the best students on our campus. One of those measures you can see is a dean's list. That's how many students earn above a 3.4 GPA in any given semester. Usually 50% of our students, or over 50% of our students, are on dean's list. A year ago this semester, 62% of our students were on the dean's list. So that is truly remarkable. And I'm not saying they're doing well just in their diplomacy coursework. I mean, they are excelling in their coursework all across the campus. And Dean Sangiamino will talk to you about the flexibility that some of our programs, especially our 4-year program, has to earn minors and double majors all across our campus. And our students are highly sought after by professors across campus because they are so strong in the classroom, and they really raise the level of classroom environment, the classroom dynamic for all of their students. So this is really great. Imagine yourself not being like maybe an outlier in your high school who's the one or two or a couple people who are interested in international politics. Imagine yourself being in a room of students who are just like you, just that passionate, just that excited, just that engaged, and imagine the learning opportunity that you can have with them. So in addition to their academic excellence, our students are also leaders on campus. I mentioned earlier that there's over 130 student organizations on our campus. On the bottom half of the slide, you'll see about 10 or 12 there that are especially popular among diplomacy majors because they are international in focus. A couple things to highlight. The first two organizations you see listed there are Model UN organizations. SHUNA is our team that goes and competes at other colleges, and Schumann is our group that hosts a high school conference here every spring, and you'll meet the Secretary General of Schumann as one of the students that you'll meet in a few minutes. But I just want to highlight on SHUNA. SHUNA has been a top 50 team on the Model UN circuit for a number of years. Last year, they had the goal to move into the top 25. And not only did they move into the top 25, they met their goal. They exceeded it. They split the top 25 in half. They were ranked 12th in the country at this point last year. I mean, at the end of the fall semester last year. They just did an amazing job. Now, this fall, the Model UN conferences are not happening because of travel and safety reasons. But the SHUNA students got together and said, we want to build on the success of last year. We don't want to have the fall not having the conferences. So they created a new conference called Hallman, which was completely online. It's the first year they ran it. It actually happened last weekend, last Saturday and Sunday. They had a great turnout. It was just an amazing experience. And so not only are they going and competing at other organizations, when they can't do that, they're playing a leading role on the Model UN circuit by instead hosting their own conference and filling an important need. I also want to highlight partway through, there's two organizations there that are media related, the Diplomatic Envoy and the Global Current. Those are, the first is an international newspaper, and the second is an international news show on WSOU, which is Seton Hall's award-winning radio station. So both of these opportunities are where you can marry an interest in diplomacy and international affairs with journalism and media, and those are very popular among our students. And they are something that are founded, like all of these student organizations were founded at the initiative of our students. I happen to be the advisor for the Diplomatic Envoy, and I have exactly two jobs. I read it and I pay for it. I don't do anything else. I don't pick the topics. I don't write the articles. I don't recruit the staff, train the writers, edit the paper. All of that is student done, and they do an outstanding job. The last thing I want to highlight is that our students are always ready to show leadership on campus. You will see in just a second, when you meet from some of our students, the Student Government Association at Seton Hall has 58 members in it. 12 of those are diplomacy majors, so that's about 20%. Why do I highlight that? Because Seton Hall diplomacy students are about 6% of the Seton Hall population. So 6% of the students hold 20% of the SGA leadership positions. That's amazing. And if you go to the executive cabinet of the SGA, which is the top 4 positions, the president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer, the percentage is 75%. 75% of the executive leadership of the Student Government Association this year is diplomacy majors, including the president, Julia Nichols, who is one of the students who will be speaking to you in a few minutes. So our students are really shining not only in the classroom, but leadership on campus. And because they're such outstanding students, we cultivate them for wonderful off-campus opportunities. There's a list on your screen right now of highly competitive international fellowships, and our students excel at getting these. Right smack in the middle of the list is the Fulbright Fellowship. That's one of the main, most prestigious ways in which students can go abroad after they graduate and either do research or teach English. And Seton Hall has really made an initiative over the last 10 years to increase the number of Fulbrights that we have on campus. And the School of Diplomacy is leading the way. Again, diplomacy students are 7% of the population on campus, but our students have been over 70% of the Fulbright Fellows over the last 10 years, of Seton Hall's Fulbright Fellows. So our students are really shining, not only on campus, but off campus. A couple of the other fellowships that you'll see listed there, the Pickering Fellowship that's partway down. You'll see the Wrangell Fellowship toward the bottom. These are programs to help students enter into the U.S. Foreign Service, where they pay for your graduate study and then lead to a State Department career. And one of our students who graduated a year ago is right now studying at Harvard as a Charles Wrangell Fellow. So he's doing his graduate work, and then his name is Philippe. Philippe will then go into the U.S. Foreign Service. So we do a very nice job of identifying our students and cultivating them and helping make it so that they are outstanding candidates for things like the Pickering Fellowship or the Wrangell Fellowship. One last opportunity I just want to highlight is that down at the very bottom is the Critical Language Scholarship, which again is something offered by the U.S. Department of State. Again, diplomacy students are leading the way at Seton Hall. We have the most robust foreign language requirement on campus. Dean San Gimignano will walk you through that in just a minute. And because of that, the robustness of our foreign language requirement, our students compete very well for the Critical Language Scholarship. Seton Hall had 2 of those last year. Both of them were diplomacy majors. The last one I want to highlight is right above that, the Truman Fellowship. This is one of the most prestigious scholarships there is. Seton Hall in its history has had 3 Truman scholars. About 20 years ago, there was one. That was a School of Diplomacy student. And 2 years ago was one. That was also a School of Diplomacy student. So in the entire time that the School of Diplomacy has been around, 100% of the Truman Fellows from Seton Hall are School of Diplomacy students. Now, how are we helping prepare them for these wonderful opportunities? We're going to get to the classroom in just a second. Dean San Gimignano will walk you through the curriculums, but there's one last extracurricular opportunity I just want to highlight to you before we do that, and that's our leadership program. The Buccino Institute is the Seton Hall-wide leadership initiative, and within that, award-winning, by the way, and then within that is the program within the School of Diplomacy, the Roman Leadership Center. This is a program that is that some students are considered for automatically when they apply to Seton Hall and are accepted, or else you can reach out to us. Our contact information will be on the last slide of the presentation, and we can get you connected so you can express an interest in the leadership program. It's an extracurricular activity, non-credit. It is meets on Friday afternoons, and it involves a lot of professional development activities, leadership assessment, so that way you learn your skill set, leadership skill building, so that way you have new skills, and you do that through guest speakers and workshops with officials who meet just with our leadership students. Sometimes our leadership students our students play a role in helping lead and host guests. Just on Thursday afternoon, we had the Palestinian ambassador to the UN speaking to our students, just to the School of Diplomacy students. And I did the brief introduction to the event, but everything else from the event, from the introduction of the ambassador and moderating the entire Q&A period, was done by one of our undergraduate students, Harshana, who you'll meet in just a few minutes. So our students are given these opportunities to demonstrate leadership and really excel. You'll see some other elements there, research and writing opportunities, coaching, peer mentorship, trips just for the leadership students. So the leadership is just another example of a way in which you can really build on your out of the classroom experiences to make sure that you are developing to your full potential and ready to hit the job market when you graduate from the School of Diplomacy. Now, obviously, the heart of that experience while you're here is going to be the coursework and the curriculum that you're going to follow. So I'd like to shift to Dean Sangiamino. She can start talking about some of your in the classroom learning that you're going to do to complement the stuff I've just been talking about. So Dean Sangiamino, back over to you.
Great. Thank you, Dean Smith. So I'd like to chat and discuss a little bit about the foreign language study. So Seton Hall University offers Arabic, Chinese, we have French, we have German, we have Italian, Japanese, Russian, and Spanish. Those are your options for a foreign language study. The School of Diplomacy requires advanced proficiency in a foreign language. We believe, and our alumni can certainly attest to this fact, that you must have advanced, not just 2 years, advanced proficiency to remain competitive in today's workforce or your career choice. It doesn't matter if your career options are kind of focused towards government service or NGO or IOs or private sector, doesn't matter. The foreign language proficiency is becoming a required skill set. So we have all of our majors require foreign advanced proficiency in a foreign language. The School of Diplomacy study seminars. So it's not just foreign language, okay, proficiency that you need in a skill set. You need experience. And the school offers, our faculty offer study seminars. And you can see a list of some of the countries that the faculty-led intensive course study focus on. The School of Diplomacy is really dedicated to getting you that experience, okay, that international experience in the international arena. So whether the focus is a study seminar, which the faculty generally, they conduct these study seminars either during the summer or during spring break. So whether it's a study seminar or experiential education, which is an internship, okay, or a study abroad, will help you arrange for a study abroad. We believe that you need this experience. This is part of your education. This is part of your portfolio, right? As we build your portfolio. So again, whether it's a study seminar, whether it's an experiential education, internship experience, or a study abroad, we want you to have that experience. The school does not require a study abroad, okay? But we will work with you and offer opportunities if you choose to go abroad for a semester. And that would depend, again, on the program that you choose. If you're interested in doing a study abroad, we would encourage you, okay, to use your foreign language. This is an opportunity to study that foreign language to attain that advanced proficiency. And again, they're approved by our Office of International Programs. It would be a university probably that we've worked with. It's a university that you will get a transcript and get your credits transferred back to Seton Hall. And the program and your course selection must be approved by the School of Diplomacy and the foreign language department chair. So our programs. So first and foremost, as Dean Smith had mentioned, that the School of Diplomacy is one of the colleges at Seton Hall University. We're not a department, we're a college, and we have 3 degree programs, 3 majors. You would indicate your choice, your major choice on your application. Be a bachelor's degree, which is our 4-year program, a bachelor and master's degree, which is one of our accelerated programs, is an accelerated 5-year program, or our bachelor's and JD program, which is our 3+3, which is our other accelerated program. So we have 3 majors for you to choose from. All of the programs that we're going to be discussing accommodate honors courses. So if you've applied to the honors program, if you've been accepted in the honors program, you will be able to take the honors courses in any of those programs. I should also note that the foreign language requirement is included in each of those majors. Okay, the advanced proficiency in a foreign language is included in each of those majors. The most popular major, because it is the most flexible, is the BS in diplomacy. And this flexibility in the program allows students to double major, and you will hear some of our students later in this presentation discuss that they have opted to have a double major. It's also more flexible for multiple minors. So how does that work? So there are free electives in the BS program, in the 4-year program. And you would work with your advisor to make sure that you select courses that would meet the requirements for that second major. Some of the most popular second majors right now for diplomacy students are economics and modern languages. So the economics it's right there, right? It's included in our program, 12 to 15 credits. So it's a great introduction into the program. And then you finish up the remaining credits with the major, economics major. The modern languages, one of the languages is already included in our program. So again, it's a no-brainer. Pick up that second language. Many students like to start a new language at Seton Hall. Maybe they would like one of the preferred languages or the critical languages, those being Arabic, Chinese, and Russian. And your program allows you to start a new foreign language. But some students would also like to finish the language they started in high school. So if you opt to do that, you could do a double major in modern languages and have two languages of study. The next program I would like to discuss is the BSMA. So that's an accelerated program. It's a 5-year program. 3 years are dedicated to the undergraduate, toward the BS degree, and the remaining 2 years are dedicated to the graduate level courses. It is a full 45 credit master's program. You apply upon admission, and you can also opt in to this program by the first semester of your 3rd year. And of course, you can opt out and always opt out to the traditional 4-year program. This BSMA program, this 5-year accelerated program, has a few free electives included. We're reducing the undergraduate portion by 18 credits. And those 18 credits you're taking on the graduate level, okay? Once you complete your graduate level courses, we're giving you undergraduate credit. But we were also able to keep a few free electives in this program. So if structured properly and if the sequence works, there might be an option for you to do a double major in this program. Again, it depends on the courses that you're bringing in and how we plan it out. But there are a few free classes. The next program is the BSJD. Now that is extremely structured, okay? It's an accelerated program where you spend 3 years in your undergraduate coursework and 3 years at Seton Hall Law School. Your 4th year, okay, which generally would be your senior year, you're not a senior. You're already at the Seton Hall Law School as a 1L. When you complete that 4th year or that 1L, when you complete those 30 credits in law at the law school, you receive your bachelor's degree. And then you finish the 2 years towards your JD. So both accelerated programs, okay, you're starting whether it's graduate school or you're starting, working towards your law degree before you have your bachelor's degree. We're using those graduate level courses and credits and applying them towards your undergraduate degree. Now, the BSJD is very, very structured. There's very little flexibility, if any. You are required to have advanced proficiency in a foreign language, but it's 3 credits beyond advanced 2. Our traditional BS 4-year program and our BSMA require 6 credits beyond advanced 2. Okay, the BSJD requires 3 credits beyond advanced 2. You must apply upon admission. You cannot opt into this program. But again, if you join this program and decide that this is not for you and you'd like to double major, you can certainly opt out into one of the other programs. And now I would like to turn this over to Dr. Catherine Ruby, who is our Director of the Office of Internships and Career Development. Dr. Ruby.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I lead the Office of Internships and Career Development. So in doing that work, I work with you on your internships, which is the experiential learning component of your degree. I'm also a career coach. We're going to pull your skills together, your language skills, the academic skills that you will gain while you're in the bachelor's degree at Seton Hall, and we'll explore the field of international relations and find out where you fit in working on your employment development and where you're going to end up. So 100% of our students participate in at least one internship because internships are required academic courses at the school. You really have a boutique office here because we work only with School of Diplomacy students. Of course, you also have access to the university's career center called Navigator. So why do internships? Well, 75% of employers expect that new hires have career experience. Research also shows that nationally, 50% of students are hired by the organizations where they interned. The deciding factor between 2 equally qualified candidates is 1, if they have completed an internship at the organization, or if they have completed an internship in the industry. So that's why we focus on internships at the school. Our academic internship is a 3-credit course, which requires 150 hours at the internship host site over the course of 1 semester. So that's between 10 and 15 hours per week. The academic component of the internship enhances professional development because we require you to do written assignments about the skills that you are learning at the internship. So we're asking you to identify the skills and write about them. And why is this so important? Because we want you to have an answer. When someone asks you, what are you interested in? What skills do you have to offer? That you can respond to that question. And that is really key to your career success. So I work with all students. I vet the internships. I supervise and monitor internships to ensure that the quality is superior, that the level of work is appropriate and relevant to the degree. Students work with me on the internship search. We discuss the options based on your interests. We develop a target list of internships and we work on written materials required in the internship search. Much of my work begins with students before the academic internship in career development exercises, including resume review, cover letter writing, mock interviewing, and learning about opportunities in the field. As freshmen and sophomore, you're preparing for the internship. You're going to learn how to write a resume, and we'll focus on cover letter writing, which is really a skill. In freshman and sophomore year, this is a time to get involved with campus clubs and activities, which Jean Smith spoke about previously, and take leadership positions there. Do volunteer work. This is all skills building that is required for internships. So junior and senior, third and fourth year students participate in the academic internships. And during this semester of the internship, students leave 2 days per week open so that when they're scheduling classes, so that they have the time set aside to do the internship. The school also offers an internship scholarship to help students cover the cost of an internship for local students. That might be commuting and professional attire. For international internships, that might be help with airfare and accommodations. So let's move to the next slide and we'll talk about my work with internship host sites. This slide lists some of the organizations where diplomacy students have interned. We have a list of over 600 organizations since the beginning of the school where our students have had successful internships. So students learn about internship opportunities on College Central, which is the school's web-based internship/employment website. In 2019-20, so last year, 637 internships were posted to College Central and promoted to diplomacy students in, we call them internship opportunity emails, which we send out every other week. My outreach to internship host sites is based on current student interests. So we're constantly updating the internship database. I have help with this from faculty who provide leads for internships, from our alumni, our board of overseers, deans, and friends of the school. So notable last year was the FBI internship program, which is a summer program. The US Department of Commerce, those are sort of the government examples, Middle East Policy Council, and the Council on Foreign Relations, which are examples for research think tanks, Human Rights Watch, International Rescue Committee, and those are examples of non-government organizations. And those are the three categories that our students tend to not only intern in, but also end up working in. Also popular are missions to the United Nations and congressional offices. So if you would like to learn more about our internships, see the Practicing Diplomacy blog on shu.edu, where we have write-ups of individual student intern experiences. So this is our slide, shows the location of our semester in DC program. Classes are held at the UN Foundation, which you can see 1750 Pennsylvania Avenue, right in the heart of Washington, where the action is. So our courses are offered at the UN Foundation, and the internships in Washington, DC are full-time internships. Therefore, students are at their internships Monday to Thursday, basically 9 to 5, and then taking classes at the UN Foundation on Fridays, 9 to 4. Students also study their required language courses during the semester remotely. The school's professor of professional practice is Ambassador John Walser in DC, and he is a former US ambassador to several Latin American countries and is a fellow at the Heritage Foundation. So Dr. Walser teaches 2 courses to students on Fridays. So those courses combined with the academic internship courses mean that students maintain full-time student status at Seton Hall University. And that's important because that allows you to keep any financial aid that you have from the university and your health insurance while you're studying in the semester in DC program. So we talk about professional development and coaching. These are some of the sessions that we've offered. The goal of the professional development program is to familiarize students with career possibilities of an international relations degree and to teach students the skills required to find opportunities in the field. So you can see here, we do sessions on the elevator pitch, creating your personal brand. That's sort of a next step after you do your internship and the internship course where you're verbalizing in an elevator pitch what skills you have and what you're interested in. We also have career panels. Examples from last year include the diplomat in residence. The diplomat in residence is a foreign State Department Foreign Service officer who is assigned to states across the United States and works with universities and colleges to help students understand the application process for a career in government, including the State Department. We also had a presentation from KPMG communication director who talked to us about how non-business students can leverage their unique programs to gain access to the private sector. So those are two examples. We also do internship host site excursions, which are very fun. If we want to move to the next slide, Robert. This is a picture of one of our excursions to Washington, D.C., which is a day trip. We get up at 5:30 in the morning and we go on the bus to D.C. And this picture was taken at the Woodrow Wilson Center, which is a research think tank in DC. Past excursions included visits to the Center for Strategic and International Studies, the US Department of State, and the UN Foundation. So at each site, we speak to Human Resources Department, and we hear from a scholar or from a senior manager about what it's like to work at the organization. We also do this in New York City, where we have visited CNN, the Council on Foreign Relations, and the US Mission to the United Nations. So these activities are part of your career exploration and research. We are always asked the questions, where do our alumni work? So you can see on the chart here, 40% work in the private sector, 38% work in the nonprofit, which is non-government organizations, think tanks, foundations. 22% work in the public sector, which is basically all levels of government. So this information comes from a survey that we do every year of current alumni who are 6 to 9 months past graduation. And so, of course, the categories here will vary over time. This slide illustrates the specific organizations in each of the sectors that employ diplomacy students, and it's broken down by degree. So examples, the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The students that were hired here participated in the honors internship program in the summer before their senior year. So that's an organization that makes their hiring decisions based on internship participation. The banks that you'll see here, they are specifically targeting diplomacy students for their compliance units. And you'll see that in the bachelor's degree and the BSMA degree. The Department of Justice listed here, that's really a broad overall term for students who have gone into intelligence positions, and due to their secret clearance, they can't specify their organization. For our BSMA students, I think you can see that these organizations have a little more focus to them. They're a little more specialized, and that's because the MA program has 2 specializations that you focus on. Chemonics is a contractor to USAID, which is the development funding US organization. It funds overseas development made on behalf of the government. Goldman Sachs, again, that's compliance. Students who have done internships in the investment banking part have also that's another group that depends on their internships for employment decisions. I think Oxfam, you can see the NGOs, and then very specific down here, USAID with the Africa region, World Food Program in Italy. So it helps to have both geographic focus, which would come with your language, sort of a cultural focus, as well as an academic focus. And then for the JD, you can see these are very much related to the law degree. So now I would like to introduce our students who are going to talk about the internships. So Brenton, why don't you start first?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brenton Gibbons. I'm a diplomacy student in the 5-year BSMA program, and I am from Clinton, New Jersey, so not too far from Seton Hall. I have a minor in German, and I'm also studying Russian on the side. And when I do my master's, I'm going to be focusing on international security and a regional focus of Europe. So my internship is with the Modern War Institute at West Point, and it is a dream come true for me to be able to work with them. I'm in ROTC at Seton Hall, and so my career trajectory is going into the Army once I'm done here. And the experiences that the diplomacy school has given me have allowed me to get this amazing internship at the Modern War Institute. The Modern War Institute is the U.S. Army's think tank that solves academic problems and helps to advance doctrine. So, and this aligns with my goals. I really enjoy helping the Army get better. So, because of course I'm going to serve it in the future, and I want my soldiers to be going into a good organization. So primarily, while I've worked with the Modern War Institute, I have been studying the modernization of special operations units and I've been working with the Urban Warfare Project. So both of them are run by some individuals who I have been studying their material for various years at this point to advance my knowledge and make myself a better Army officer when I leave here. And it's a dream come true to be able to work with them, and I wouldn't have been able to have that without the diplomacy school, or specifically Dr. Sarah Moeller, who I'm sure some of you guys will meet once you enter the school. She's an amazing professor, and we've got a bunch of amazing professors here.
Thanks, Brenton. Harshawn, you want to go next? Okay, let's have Julia. You want to go next? Okay, how about Sade? Sade Nixon?
Hi, is everyone able to hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Sade.
Excellent. Okay, so forgive the background noise. I'm actually en route to Chicago right now on the train, but it's great to be here. My name is Sade Nixon. As Catherine Irby said, I am a double major actually in the School of Diplomacy and in the School of Modern Languages, with regional focuses in Africa, West and Central Africa, and Eastern Europe. And I'm currently interning with the U.S. Mission to the United Nations on the desk. It's called the political section. What we do is we handle all of the Security Council affairs on behalf of the United States. And it's really great to work there, not only because of the experience, but also because of all the wonderful people that I've met working there. It's really an honor to work with the Foreign Service officers on U.S. policy, especially on issues that are so important. You know, I work with a lot of humanitarian response issues, a lot of Security Council mandates that have created peacekeeping missions. That's my primary focus. and I would not have been able to do this internship. I always shout out Dr. Ruby because I came to her with absolutely no idea how to write a cover letter or how to format a resume. And I think literally in 2 days, we had me ready to apply. So all props to the diplomacy faculty. So yeah, I guess that's that's kind of what I do. So thank you so much for allowing me to speak on this awesome experience. It's great to be here.
Great. Thank you, Sade. Do we have Julia or Harshana here? Okay, so let's move on then. Thank you.
Meg, if you're in, you can go.
Hi, everybody. Can you guys all hear me?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Hi, guys. I'm Meg Kandula, and I'm one of the diplomacy senators here at Seton Hall. I'm super honored to be able to represent the diplomacy school. And basically my role is I'm in the Student Government Association along with Chase Cohen, and we both serve to represent our diplomacy constituents and kind of create a bridge between the SGA as an organization where we can push initiatives and push student ideas to the forefront of administrators, and also kind of bridge the gap between admin and students. So as a part of that, I'm really excited to be able to talk about all the clubs and organizations that the School of Diplomacy offers. Honestly, one of the biggest parts of your undergraduate experience is going to be about the clubs you're in. There's such an amazing opportunity to really refine your skills and get to know, amazing students, faculty, and create connections, all while getting better at things that you're passionate about and you're interested in. And one of the best parts about all the clubs that School of Diplomacy offers is you get to choose, maybe you like one club, maybe you like a different one, and there's nothing that restricts you from joining so many clubs, or maybe only a couple. So I personally am a part of Model UN, which is a really exciting club here. We have 2 Model UN conferences along with a competitive team. So when we host a conference, you're able to really research topics that you're passionate about and work with a group of people and learn how to both moderate and mediate discussions. But when you're competing, you also get this amazing opportunity to really travel and also refine your research skills in terms of how you represent different entities, whether you agree with them or not. You're able to refine the skills where you represent an idea or a person who you might not always agree with. And those are always amazing skills to have in this diplomacy field. And there's so many clubs like that. We have, if you're interested in journalism, there are radio shows, there's school newspapers, diplomacy papers. The Global Current is our radio station, and they release podcasts every week. And so there's so many opportunities for you guys to really be able to refine your skills, to get new skills. And it's just a really amazing time. So thank you guys for having me. And I hope to see you guys next year.
Thank you, Meg. Peter, if you're on, you can go.
Absolutely. Hello, everybody. My name is Peter Eggerding. I'm originally from the suburbs of Chicago, LaGrange, Illinois. I'm majoring in diplomacy with a secondary major in philosophy and minors in Russian and economics. I'm studying Eastern Europe as well. I wanted to talk about a few of the clubs I'm involved in. I'm the president of DULCE, which is the Diplomacy United Leadership and Communications Exchange, which is a very rare opportunity. We get to sit down once a month with the deans. We had our meeting on Friday, actually, for November, and we get to discuss initiatives like bringing students together. Some of the students were interested in adding new classes, so there's petitions going around for next semester. And that's something you don't get at every university, the opportunity to have a meaningful discussion that's open, open dialogue, asking questions directly and setting up initiatives based on that. I'm also the Secretary General of Schumann, which is, Meg was talking about just a second ago, our competitive Model United Nations team. This is kind of a splinter of that team that works on a high school conference we put on every semester. So this year we've actually, or every year. So this year we've actually started planning for a fully online Model United Nations conference for high schoolers, which is crazy and definitely not something that we've done before, but it's going to be an amazing opportunity. First of all, for marketable skills, those are really difficult things, especially this year, to learn and to implement. But it's also just amazing to get to work with, amazing student leaders and to put something together that's very rare. So I think at Seton Hall, there's absolutely something for whatever sort of subset you want to go in international relations. I'm also a member of Slavic Club, for example, because of my interest in Eastern Europe, where we get to have pierogies and borscht and get to hear presentations about Eastern Europe. So I think there's something for everybody. You can, the one thing that I always hear is you get in, you get out what you put in the diplomacy school. So it's really good to focus, to learn, and we have amazing administrators like Dr. Ruby to help you out. So yeah, I thank you guys for coming, and like Mike said, I hope to see you guys here next year.
Thank you, Peter. It looks like we have one more internship speaker that just joined us. You can go ahead, Julia.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Julia Nichols. I am a junior here in the School of Diplomacy, double majoring in obviously diplomacy and then economics with a minor in design. So far here at School of Diplomacy, I've had 2 internships, one working in Synergos, which works on international development. So I've worked on a variety of different projects, whether it was preventing infant drowning rates in Nepal, one of the leading causes of death there, and worked on a variety of different event plannings. And then I also worked on a political campaign this past summer. Now I work as a clerk in corporate law, which is really, really exciting. And all of these opportunities I've been able to have are because of fellow diplomacy students and administrators, which I think is extremely cool and something very unique to the School of Diplomacy, where we all are trying to help better each other. So you have networking not only amongst alumni and administrators and professors, but also within students themselves, which I think is really amazing. And even one really cool example is, for example, Peter, who just spoke, went to Israel last January and then recommended me for the same trip, which is where I'll be going in June. So really exemplifies this peer-to-peer drive for success, which is really amazing within the School of Diplomacy. So extremely thankful for those experiences. And now I get to, prepare for my life beyond college, looking forward to attending law school and, preparing my future beyond that, really because of the help from administrators and from fellow students. So very thankful there. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and I'd be happy to answer them about any of my experiences that I've had at Seton Hall.
Thank you, Julia. We're going to transition back now to Dean San Gimino.
Okay, great. Apparently we're having like a Zoom issue. So I hope that you're able to see me. Something with the camera right now. Of course, there goes Zoom. In any event, we're open to questions. And I would like to put this out there from my current students. If you are in honors or part of the leadership, would you like to jump in and tell the audience a little bit about those programs?
Sure.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go.
Oh, either one. I guess I'll speak very briefly. I'm currently in my 4th year. So I'm a senior this year, which means that I moved into the thesis portion of my honors curriculum. And it's really great, I think, to do both the honors curriculum while you're doing the diplomacy major, because it's made me a much better writer. Even though the content is slightly different. We do talk a bit about politics, but we also talk about philosophy in the honors program, art, music, history, literature. But I think the way that it interacts with my diplomacy curriculum is that it's made me so much more conscious of my words. It's made me more careful about what I write and say and the connotations behind my wording. And that, of course, is everything when you're studying diplomacy, not just the content, but the way things are conveyed. So that's just my own 2 cents.
Great, thank you. Peter, I believe you are involved with the leadership program. If you're still with us, could you share a few thoughts on it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a really great opportunity to get to expand and think about leadership in a critical way. I think that's something that undergraduate students don't get to do very often. And we've had guest speakers, we've had trainings, seminars, and really interesting simulations that have showed us how we think in a leadership setting. So we've taken personality tests, for example, that tell you, you know, if you're in a high pressure situation, this is the kind of way that you react, and this is what you have to keep in mind about your personal leadership style. And I think that's just a very unique program that you're not going to find at really almost anywhere. So I would definitely recommend, if you want to apply, it's a really amazing program. And I've gotten, you know, so many different, you know, knowing about myself as a leader and how to work with others in a intense, you know, leadership scenario, which almost everybody's going to be in at some point in their lives, whether or not it's, you know, working at an internship or when you actually get out into the professional field. So that's been a really amazing opportunity. And if there are any specific questions, I'm happy to answer. But I think that, you know, it's another one of those things that Seton Hall has that it's hard to find anywhere else.
Great, thank you, Peter. Julia, would you be able to share a little bit about your role as the SGA president, but I'd also like you to share how you're handling your double major, because we talk about a double major and people are, I don't know if I can really handle it. How do you handle a double major and the workload with it, the foreign language, and being president of the SGA?
Absolutely. So my role in school is I'm the president of the student body within the Student Government Association, which is definitely a big role, can definitely be tough to handle at times. And then I also am a double major in obviously diplomacy and international relations, as well as economics. And the way that I explain this is I genuinely love what I do and love what I study. When I'm sitting in the library in non-COVID world with my friends and I'm sitting there giddy like, oh my goodness, I get to write a case brief about like, you know, the different jurisdictions in international law. And it genuinely makes me so excited, which is like nerdy and weird to say, but I just love what I get to study here within the School of Diplomacy. So I don't find it like a chore. I look forward to doing my homework, which don't tell my parents that, but I feel it's weird to say. And then within the Student Government Association, I also really love being able to help, you know, my fellow students and find it something that is very rewarding, working with other administrators and faculty and students. Right now, we're developing the next, you know, goals and activities for the university for the next 5 years, which is something that's really amazing to be a part of and to be able to make a lasting difference on the school and on the university, which I'm very, very thankful for. And for anyone who's, you know, curious on time management, I always say, if you're passionate and you love what you do, then it doesn't matter how much, you know, time it takes up or things like that, because it's not a chore, it's not an obligation, it's you doing what you love. So that's simply how I think of it. You know, keeping my to-do list and everything in order there definitely helps. And I'm thankful, you know, I have a lot of resources, not only among students, but with faculty and administrators who are always here to lend a helping hand. And it's always, you know, Dr. Ruby and, you know, Dean Santomino being like, okay, you got this, like, you know, keep going, you know, and when I get stressed about, you know, all the different responsibilities that I have that really they keep me sane, I swear on it. So I'm very thankful for everyone.
Okay, great. I have a couple of questions. I'm just going to, in the chat.
Yeah.
So how many students are accepted into the 3+3 International Relations program? So there is no set number of students that we accept right now. We have approximately 60 students at the School of Diplomacy that are enrolled in the 3+3 program. I would encourage you to apply. And, you know, if you have any questions and the specifics of this program, please contact me. I should also mention that we also have extended Saturday information sessions. So we have the time to go a little bit more in depth on the academic programs than each individual program. So I would encourage you to contact me or Robert Bust if you would like to attend our extended Saturday sessions. I also had a question from someone about Korean. University does not offer Korean, but I have had students who were interested in studying that language, continuing their study. And we work with the students to identify a university where they can take the foreign language study, the Korean foreign language study during the summer. There's the Monterey Institute. There are a number of different options, and or do a study abroad for a language study. And that is increasingly popular with students. You know, they're not quite ready to do a full semester abroad, but it is possible to pick up 6 to 9 credits, foreign language credits, if you do a summer abroad. So that, would be something that you might consider. Are there any other questions? Can you do a study abroad in Russia? Yes, we've had a number of students study abroad, obviously, when things open up. Doesn't look like anyone is going during winter break right now. But there are a number of programs where students go to St. Petersburg or 2 universities, basically, that we're dealing with, one in St. Petersburg and one in Moscow. And you can, spend the summer there and work on your Russian. I've had students do semesters abroad as well. And that, again, is an option. And same goes for Japan. Yes, same thing. There are a number of study abroad through third party, okay, that, organizations that we must approve and we vet, and the University Office of International Programs will vet. And also working with our foreign language departments. And, they will help you identify the courses that you need to take if you do a study abroad. But that's certainly, easy to do. It's not a problem. Are there any other questions? I'm just trying to scan the chat and see if I'm missing any. And let's see. If you've already applied and been accepted to the BS program, is there a way to switch to the master's or doctorate program? So if you apply the BS program, you certainly are able to apply to the BSMA. Again, the BSJD, you must apply as a freshman. You cannot opt in, but you can opt into our BSMA program. And let's see. Can you do a study abroad in Singapore? The world is your oyster. You can do a study abroad basically anywhere that the State Department and our insurance carrier allow you to study. So there are many options, but we would encourage you to identify, right, a country or a region where you can use work on your foreign language study. We would encourage you to do that so you can pick up the credits while you're abroad, obviously, right, toward your foreign language, and immerse yourself in the culture. It's not just studying the language or the language proficiency. They all have rich cultures, and we want you to get that experience, have the language coupled with the culture. Any other questions? Put them in the chat or jump right in. No. Okay. If you check out your screen, you will see our contact information. I am very happy that you joined us today. And again, we have other sessions on Saturdays and Sundays. I would encourage you to join us again, as you listen and hear about our programs and listen to our students. You may have other questions, right, for us. So I encourage you to do that. You have my email, and thank you all for joining us today. And thank you to my students who, I know some of you are in transit right now on your way back home. Stay safe, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Angelina. On
Thank
behalf of the
you.
Office of Admissions, I'd like to thank the diplomacy team too as well for their presentation today. You guys are incredible professionals and academics, but also people too as well. And I'm so excited for all of our prospective students and what their futures might hold within your school. So for everyone joining us, I do know that we have another round of academic sessions coming up shortly. And then finally a virtual campus tour this afternoon that we hope you'll join us at as well. But without further ado, I will go ahead and close the session and certainly encourage everyone to keep in touch. Have a good rest of your day.